Hello, and welcome to the next episode of the Northern Chorus Fantasy Pints Podcast. How are you doing, James?
I'm good, mate. I'm very nasal. But
You
I'm
are,
good.
or I am.
I think we both are, because you've just been talking about it, but I've realised that I'm actually talking through my nose as well, which is interesting.
Well, I'm 100% suffering from man flu. I thought I'd tactically take Sudafed nose and blocker, which, if anyone knows about Sudafed nose and blocker, it is what I would say is the most effective non-prescribed medicine. Is that the right terminology for it?
Over the counter.
Over the counter. It's honestly, I live by it. Whenever you got a cold.
Is it a nasal spray?
It is indeed, and I've just accidentally squirted it in my eye just before we started.
Got to be careful with that, because you can actually get addicted to nasal spray.
Well, yeah, I think it does actually say that on the packaging, but I would still highly recommend. I'll take your word.
I think it's apparent from what I've heard in the past. It's because of it's not a true addiction, but it's the sensation that you get from the kind of very rapid opening up of your airways.
Right. Well, I never thought we'd be getting so deep into addiction on the pod.
It says here, nasal spray addiction is not a true addiction, but it can lead to tissue damage inside the nose, which can result in swelling and long-term stuffiness that leads to further use and overuse of the spray. There you go.
Well, there it is. What started as me praising Sudafed block nose spray, I'm now warning off. But anyway, less of the Sudafed chat.
No brand deals here.
Onto the music chat, because we've been busy at gigs, haven't we? You've been out the house, out and about. Where have you been?
I'm always out the house, and I've been off the stage more like, and never stopped working really.
Certainly the wrong phrase to use, but you've been watching a gig rather than playing a gig.
Yeah, so, 2 in 3 days.
Indeed. So
2 in 4 days.
Which ones did you go to then? So, Phonics first?
Yeah, Phonics on Friday at the AO Arena.
It is indeed, yeah.
Manchester. In Manchester. Unreal. First time I've ever seen them. Jess got me tickets for my birthday, and it was myself and Tom, who would have otherwise been attending a gig that I'm sure you're going to talk about in a second, but did not want to leave me friendless at Phonics and came with me to Phonics. It was a very good gig. Tom had seen them in the past with a very close school friend of ours at a festival.
Is that Coggy Dave you're talking about?
Yeah, big up Dave. Dave, if you're listening, drop us a message. We'd love to get you on the pod.
Oh dear.
But I'd obviously never seen them before, so surreal. You can really tell that they are a band that have been performing for in excess of 25 years. They're just pure class, just fantastic. And Kelly Jones's voices never stooped in quality ever. He was superb. They all were.
Yeah. I've seen them once at a festival. They were really good. I think I asked you, did they play the little mashup that they're known for doing at festivals? But I don't think they did they, this time?
Yeah, no, they didn't. And they were on for a long time. They came on at a weird time. It was like 8:35, and they got off at 10 to 11. So near enough 2.5 hours. It was like 2 hours and 15, and then an encore. Really, really good going. Yeah. So
I was just across the way, wasn't I? In Trafford, Victoria Warehouse. Jake Bugg came out to Camel Fat. Is it Camel Fat? The Liverpool duo that he did a song with. He walked out to like this. Yeah. I'm going to probably use the wrong dance music terminology, but I'd guess trancey or techno. I'm not sure. But anyway, he walked out to that, played Lost, and then straight back to the Jake Bugg we know and love, into the acoustic tracks, and he's really good. He got through about 24 songs, I think. But yeah, fantastic. Last time I saw him was at Leeds Festival, about nearly 10 years ago, it must be. So obviously he's had about 4 albums since then, I think. So yeah, it was good going. And then last night we were at a gig together. Well, sort of together. We were at Wagamama's together.
Yeah, we went for some food together beforehand. Which was, should we talk about food? Because that was exceptional as well.
Well, no, I think people probably know about Wagamama's.
Well, it was worth the 25-minute wait. Sean obviously ordering from the vegan menu and thoroughly enjoyed all his food. Tasted fantastic. I tried the curry. It was excellent. I'm not a vegan. I would miss meat far too much. Sean's trying it. Sean's trying it.
No, I'm not. James likes to joke because I don't eat meat that I'm a vegan for some reason. And he tried. You tried going at it for a while last night, didn't you? Trying to get a bite from me, and then eventually you did.
Yeah, so, I got the bite in the end. Why not vegan? Why veggie? Is it the cheese thing?
It's the difficulty of it, I suppose.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's only going to get easier though, isn't it?
Not sure. The cheese isn't getting anywhere close, is it? So that's the big issue. And
one day.
But yeah.
One day. Anyway, we were supposed to be attending Sam Fender together at the M&S Bank Arena in Liverpool. Unfortunately, Sean, being the high status gentleman that he is, was ushered into his guest list seat about 4 meters from the front, whilst I was left standing again with Tom, who is great company, thankfully.
You're actually stood with a friend of the pod as well.
Yes, friend of the pod, Jake Heaton. Accidentally bumped into Jake. I knew that he was going. And about 15 minutes into the gig, he tapped me on the shoulder and said, "I thought that was you. I've been stood behind you wondering if it was you for 10 minutes." So,
I thought it was you that I couldn't see because of. But...
Yeah, I thought it was you that's 6'6" and wearing the same clothes that you were wearing when we met for a coffee and, in Billinge about 6 hours ago. I was wearing quite a distinctive beige hoodie that I would imagine not too many other people were wearing. So it surprises me that it took him so long to identify me, but there you go.
Speaking of odd coloured clothing, I was just asking you if this top looked okay, wasn't I? Because it's a very old bobbly gym top that I've just rushed in with. I asked you if it was okay, and you said it was a bold choice of colour, and described it as lilac.
Yeah, I think it's lilac. It looks lilac in this light.
Yeah, I'll pretend it's not though for the purposes.
You can't see the bobbles, and that's the important thing.
Well, that's the important thing, like you say.
What did you think of Fender, Sean? Because it's no secret that I've recently grown to love him, and I thought it was absolutely fantastic. You've been a fan considerably longer than I have. How did you find the gig?
Well, the line I've said afterwards is he'll headline the Pyramid stage after the next album. That's what I'm going by, and I think that says it all. I'm impressed by him every time I've seen him, and he is a generational talent, I think.
Considering his age and relative inexperience in comparison to the places he's playing, doesn't half know how to carry an audience.
And just the whole band are brilliant as well. He's recently liked to give a nod to his band, who like to say it is a band effort. And I think you can tell that, couldn't you, with the was there an extra, was it a trumpet that was?
Yeah.
I don't remember that being there last time, but obviously the saxophone was there. But
Johnny Blue Hat.
I probably can't speak highly enough.
Need to get to the bottom of why he's called Johnny Blue Hat.
I could hazard a guess, but
go on then.
No, we'll leave it. We'll leave the ambiguity.
Okay.
But anyway, on to this week's guest. Fresh from an interview with someone we were just talking about, actually, Jake Bugg. So we've got a presenter, a content creator who's in and around the world of music. You've probably seen some of her interviews knocking around social media. She's done quite a few at like the festivals with the likes of This Feeling. It's Louise Schofield. Shall we get her in?
Let's do it.
So we're joined this week by a presenter, content creator, all-round musical media person. That's a good way of putting it, I would say. It's Louise Schofield. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm good, thank you. I like that, an all-round media person. I'm going to say that kind of puts everything under one umbrella. I quite like that.
Well, that was
is that how you would describe yourself? If you were going to describe yourself in a few words, how would you do it?
Do you know what? I always struggle because I do so many different things like presenting and content creating. I feel like presenter and content creator merges it into the one big little sphere. But yeah, it's difficult. It's freelance life, I tell you.
Yeah. Probably should have left it at that then instead of going into the media person. I was trying to think of a better final word to say as well. I could have gone personality and that would have sounded much better.
Look, I think you rounded it off wonderfully. I think it sounded great.
Good stuff. Well, what probably doesn't sound great is we've both got man flu, so we'll apologise in advance of any sort of nasally sounds. Well, to be fair, when I listen to myself back, I'm a lot more nasally than I sound to myself anyway, but I think I'll be ×2 this time. So we apologize in advance for that, but we'll power on.
You crack on. It's going round. Look, we're still in winter, aren't we? It's catchable, you know.
It is indeed. So we'll talk about obviously your career to date. We're going to come on to some of the things like This Feeling, which I think was the first time I saw of you. Actually, might have been Isle of Wight Festival you were doing interviews at?
Yeah, that was me. Me.
So I saw a couple of that. So we'll talk about that. But I want to know where this music media person, began her career.
Yeah, so I kind of began my degree when I was like 18. So I was actually based in Cardiff at the time. I was going to uni there. So I was like, I'm from Nottingham originally, as you can probably hear the accent a little bit. There's a slight twang. I did have a Welsh accent at one point, but that's a whole different story. And that's just because I pick up accents very quickly.
Alex Turner.
I'm like Alex Turner. I just mold. I like a chameleon with accents. If I go to America, it's all game over. But yeah, no. So I started when I was like 18, and I actually started a music blog. It was called Unique Lullaby, and I was doing that whilst in Cardiff, and I was basically going down to like every single gig in Cardiff that I could. So I'd be like 4 times a week, I'd be going down to different shows. I'd be like, can I interview you? And can I review your show? And just being there all the time. So I was doing that for like about a year. And then I started to like want to get into radio and like presenting a little bit. So I then bought a camera. And I started to take a camera with me down to shows, and I'd set up a little like tripod and put my camera on the top, and then I'd put the microphones in. And then I was just like kind of finding my feet unknowingly as a presenter, really. But I was doing it because I loved it. It was like a hobby at the time. And I was just like using my blog to kind of put it on there, and then also making a YouTube channel. And then I had a radio show on my local station. I did like student radio, and I also had a show on a station called Radio Cardiff, which was like a community station. And I was doing like a kind of introducing kind of thing on the show where I'd get bands in, and they do a little session for me on the radio, and then we do an interview. And then from there, like, I didn't really realize, like, I was just kind of creating my own little empire in terms of like having a little YouTube channel, and then having a radio show. And I didn't realize that people were kind of listening and actually paying attention to what I was doing. And because at the time in Cardiff, no one was doing that. There was like nobody doing that. So I was like the girl that this bright haired blonde girl that was just at every show. And then, the BBC in Wales saw what I was doing. And then I started to get on board with them. And it's all kind of like gone from there. And then over the years, I've just like perfected my craft in terms of presenting, and I found my style very early on. You know, when I was like 19, I did my first ever little TV presenting thing, and that's why I kind of carried on with it. But I won a competition to be an O2 Academy TV presenter when I was 19, and I'd only done a bit of radio, right? So I was like, the camera, I was quite shy as well, so like doing stuff to camera, and honestly I can't watch that back ever again. I just was expelled from the internet because I was just so awkward. But you've got to start somewhere, and I remember like doing that, and that kind of spurred me on to do the TV stuff. But so from there it's just kind of carried on. I've just built a show reel, and then it's just kind of rolled into different areas of presenting, like mainly music, but I do like film and TV and all that kind of stuff, and also a bit of comedy as well. So bits and bobs.
An all-rounder.
See, media, see, you got it. You got it in the go.
Yeah, well, it'd probably be good to look back at that and compare it to your stuff now, that first O2 Academy thing. But are you just so reluctant to even entertain it?
I don't know if I can watch it. I think it's just because I don't think I knew how to like work a camera, if that makes sense. So I didn't know how to because I always got told when I was starting up, you need to flirt with the camera when you're presenting. And I was like, what? What is that?
What does that even mean?
Yeah, I can't flirt with humans, let alone flirt with a camera. What the heck? It just I don't think I could put myself through that. And it was Black Veil Brides. I don't know if you know the band. Their fan base are very passionate, and I had to interview their fans, and I was getting thrown into the deep end here. I'd never done like presenting on camera, and they were telling me about all these fan fictions that they like imagined the guys getting with each other. I was like, look, I'm out of my depth here. I'm out of my depth.
Did you know much about the band before you were doing that?
I knew of them, but to be honest, no. And that is another thing. That's after that I learned about research and how important it is, which I think is why now.
Is Black Veil, is that Kellen Quinn? Black Veil Brides?
So. Yeah, it's what's his name? I've forgotten his name.
If not, we'll just cut it. So it's fine.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I think it is though. I think it is. I'll have to Google it now.
Yeah. Are you a secret fan? Have you got a fan fiction account? Yeah.
You interviewed him out to Academy.
Yeah. I won a competition when I was 19.
You're at the front, like.
Yeah. But you seem like quite self-sufficient. Like, I know when I go to gigs, I can like write reviews sometimes, but I'll always get someone else to like take the photos. Whereas
it was Andy Biersack. Kellen Quinn was sleeping with sirens. Was Kellen Quinn?
You're close.
We're not going to cut it. We'll just leave my embarrassment in, and I do apologise to the dedicated fan bases of both Black Veil Brides and Sleeping with Sirens.
Coming for you now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so did any of it come naturally to you, or was it all? I suppose was the presenting the natural side, and then everything else that came with it, you had to sort of learn on the job.
Absolutely, yeah. Like the presenting stuff, like I've always been a bit of goof, like, you know what I mean? Like I don't take myself very seriously, as you can probably tell from the first 30 seconds of this interview. But yeah, so I think that was something that I ran with for my personal style, and I think that has run through all of my presenting style throughout. If I have to be serious in an instant, I'll switch. But yeah, definitely. But I think the camera side and the editing side, so when I started out, I was editing, I was filming, and I was doing photos, I was doing absolutely everything. So I had to learn, I taught myself everything I could know about my Canon camera. I had a 700D Canon camera, and I learned everything about it. My dad actually was like, he used to do sound for like bands and things like that when he was like younger and stuff, and in Nottingham he used to like do all the sound at the Royal Concert Hall and stuff. So my dad, bless him, has taught me everything I knew about sound. So like setting up like any, like I'm actually now in like a bath mat made makeshift kind of box, so I can do my voiceovers in here. So yeah, so it's just stuff like that, just knowing about like how close to have a microphone, where to put the microphone, you know, and if I'm doing that, then giving it to bands, just everything. And yeah, everything I just learned on the go, all practically. So, but I like anything hands-on, I just love to get involved with anyway.
Because your sort of production sets that you do interviews with, I think I spotted is it the Spill the Sound one that you've just kicked off? It certainly doesn't look like this Zoom screen, does it? So I think your practice has sort of made perfect, but you can tell us about that now then. That's a segue. So what is Spill the Sound?
So Spill the Sound, I've been really excited about it because I've been sitting on it for like a couple of months, and all of these ones that we're bringing out at the moment, they were all filmed like a couple of months ago, and yeah, so this is a brand new TV show. So when I was growing up, the one reason I wanted to become a presenter is because I used to watch T4 and I used to watch MTV, and I just loved the music shows. And I wanted to be like Jamila Jamil and sat in that chair, and, you know, Simon Amstel and all that kind of stuff. And I wanted to be doing that. So yeah, I had a like meeting with the Yard in Manchester. They'd kind of found me online, because people just find me now. It's so weird. They just, I'm everywhere, right? Like in real bizarre places, and people just kind of like get in contact, which is great. It's exactly what you want as like a freelance presenter. But they said they want to launch some music shows basically. And they said, do you want to come down and have a chat? We'll have a think. And I went down, we banded around some ideas, and then we came up with Spill the Sound, and we wanted it to be quite reminiscent of the kind of old school noughties TV shows, but with like a modern twist, because there isn't any music shows anymore really, like apart from Jules Holland, and I can't name any really others that are on the TV. So we filmed this in a format where we want to pitch it to broadcasters basically. So it's for YouTube for now, but we've got bigger plans for the show, and we're filming it with like professional cameras and making it as professional as we can do. We had Andrew Cushion come in and do a session. He's the first episode, he absolutely smashed that. We've got a really nice lineup of bands for the first season, so it's good, it's exciting, get it out, and people are liking it. So that's always the bit, is like, people gonna like it? But yeah, I've had really good feedback so far, so it's absolutely boss.
Yeah, well, Andrew Cushion's a friend of the pod, isn't he, James?
Yeah.
Is he?
He was actually the first episode of our second season of the pod, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, first guest episode.
Yeah, no, he's good. But he's releasing a new single, isn't he, soon? So I think he's definitely one of the up and coming ones to watch.
Yeah,
but someone who's certainly more established that you've just done an interview with was Jake Bugg. Were you always a fan of Jake? Was that something you'd been wanting to do for a while?
Yeah, so I actually knew Jake when I was younger, so when I was like 16, because obviously Nottingham and
I didn't even put two and two together then.
Yeah, so like, because we're the same age, so so I was I don't know why I'm saying this because it points people to the video and it makes me want to cry, but I was in a really early Jake Bugg video that was filmed by students when at college, and that's how I kind of met Jake and like got to know him and stuff like that. But yeah, we're in this like If I Love Me the Way You Do, it's like a really old version of one of his songs, and we did like a video. So he's someone that I've always known, but like it's weird because like during that interview with Scott's, like I hadn't seen Jake for like 10 years. So it was actually really nice to like see him, and it was just like nice to catch up with him a little bit and just like, you know, because I've always just known him as like Jake, do you know what I mean? So it was really, really cool to like do that chat, and I love working with Scott's anyway. I think they're just such a great brand, and I always really like presenting for them. It was really good like working with Jake, and it's great because it's the anniversary of his first album, so it's all like quite exciting.
Yeah, it is. And Scott's also, they do, like you said, they do quite a lot, don't they? They're sort of linked with this feeling, aren't they? And that's who you've done stuff with before. So how did that sort of collaboration come about? Was it they found you, like you were saying before, or? Yeah,
so this feeling, I think I'd kind of like done bits in the same vicinity as them before, but last year I think we just kind of made the connection a little bit, and I'd had a chat with like Mikey and stuff, and I was just like, you know, he was like, oh, do you want to come down and do some things with us? And I was like, great, yeah, absolutely. So I you know, they always put on some really cool shows and stuff like that, so it's like a great kind of platform to be involved with. So I did a bit of like sort of like, I went down to a few shows of theirs, and then Mikey said, do you want to come and DJ at the Isle of Wight? And I was like, absolutely yes. That'd be awesome. So I did a little DJ set there, and then I decided to go quite old school actually for me. So I actually did what I did when I was 18. I took my camera down and did some interviews, because there's a few of the bands on there that I really like. It's like Skinner Brothers, I think they're really good. There's a band called Lock In that are really cool as well. Like they had really good lineups, so I wanted to do a few chats myself. And then after kind of that festival, then Scott's saw what I was doing, and then got me on board with their Christmas Live stuff. So it worked quite really, really nicely actually. It was really organic. Like they'd kind of seen the interviews and were like, oh, we'd like to use Louise for our Christmas Live stuff. So I did interviews with like DMAs and like some of they had like the Lathams on as well, and like loads of different artists and stuff like that. So so it's quite an organic process really, and it's nice that I think the music industry with the grassroots scene in particular, it is quite friendly and quite sort of well connected in some places, and I think it is nice that you can grow and people want to support people, and I think that's the main thing of it really.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say, because this feeling is sort of so important for up and coming bands. They're sort of the connection, aren't they, to getting into the industry really. So it must have been such a nice thing to be a part of.
Yeah, definitely. And I think at the Isle of Wight, the atmosphere was wicked as well. And I think when you're at a festival, and I think, you know, it was just nice that all the bands were like watching all the bands, and I just loved that. And I think it just felt really communal, and it was just good fun. Everyone was playing football backstage. I was not, but I did head a ball.
On purpose, or did one just hit you on the head?
I was in the way, like just walking. Don't mind me, everyone. Just don't get me camera. No, but yeah, no. Drinking the red stripe as well. That's always good. But no. I think it's it was like a really cool thing to be a part of this year, and it's nice to have that connection now with this feeling. It's cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And something else you're involved with is something called BBC Sesh. I've got that right, haven't I?
That's the one.
So tell us all about it.
So when I was in Wales, that's where that connection came about. It was actually like when it was back in 2018 that it launched actually, because I live in London now, and I've only been in London like a couple of years, so it's still new. But so that launched in 2018, and they basically again headhunted a few people online, and they found So I'd done like some geeky little sketches on my YouTube channel. They're not. No, I'm very reluctant on what to say because I don't want people to go find them because it makes me want to cry. But
links in the description.
I know. So yeah, so BBC Sesh like found those, and when they were launching the channel, they'd like message like 10 people being like, look, we're launching this brand new online channel, which is was great because it's very hard to get your foot in the door with kind of like on screen like, you know, doing anything sort of comedy and things like that. So I had a meeting and then I started writing some sketches. So I've done over sort of like 40 sketches for the channel, and I've had shares from BBC One and BBC Two as well. And I've had I think over like 6 million views on like that's 3 videos combined. So
wow,
yeah, which is cool. So some of them, you know, because it's all relatable. So the stuff I was writing about was all like, you know, very topical stuff, basically. So relatable.
So would you ever consider doing stand-up if it's sort of the comedy sketches you're writing?
You know what? I've been asked that quite a bit, and I think I would. I think if I had a routine that I was proper happy with, because that's the main thing, because I think I'm scared of dying on stage. Like, oh my goodness me. Like, what do you do if it doesn't go well and no one laughs? That's the only thing. But yeah, I'd love to. I think I'd make it quite physical though. I think it'd be like, I like physical comedy. So I'd like it to be a bit like Bo Burnham vibes, but without the singing.
So do you with the comedy side of things, do you write for yourself, if that makes sense? Are you trying to write stuff that you find funny, or are you trying to target it to an audience?
I've always written stuff that I think I know I relate to in terms of I will get it, because I think like we've got to think of it as annoyingly now, but you've got to think of like with TikTok and like the generations and on things like that and how they kind of resonate with stuff. But there's certain things I know I find funny, but I don't know if everyone else would. So I've written separate projects. Like I've got a sketch show that I've written, and I've got I've written a comedy pilot. But it's just sitting there at the minute. I'm just waiting for the right time to know what to do with that. But and that is very much for me, and that's my kind of humor, and that's my stuff. But I do write a lot, and I think it does come from a place of like probably relatable stuff, because I, you know, like one of them was about going to the hairdressers and things like that, and it's just like random relatable stuff, or like living on your own and things. And it's just, yeah, trying to find that balance where people, because you want people to kind of relate to it and go, yeah, that's me. So yeah, creating the characters and stuff.
I was going to ask you for the premise of the pilot to see what, but then I suppose you can't share too much if you're shelving it for a later date. Yeah, no, it's a work in progress. Yeah, it's kind of it's a very, I try really hard to say the best thing, but yeah, it's kind of like it's about like coming out of university really, and it's how social, it's kind of like got a bit of darkness to it as well with social media and things like that, and how that affects you. But it's kind of like the characters are very colourful and very funny, and like Black Mirror meets Fresh Meat, I'm imagining. No, that's the kind of vibe. Yeah, that's the kind of vibe. That's how my weird mind works. So I'd watch it. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay. I want you to name drop now. I've seen a couple of big names when doing my research before the limited research, as James would probably tell you before each podcast. But come on then, who's some of the big names you spoke to, who you've interviewed? Idris Elba, I think, is the number one. I think he I remember like it's the first time I moved to London as well, and like I like a couple of like weeks of moving to London, I was presenting at this another event, and then this like the guy that ran that event was like, I also run the National Film Awards, and I was like, okay. He's like, do you want to do the red carpet? And I was like, yes, I do. Yeah, that sounds great. I'll do that. And then then Idris Elba comes along, and there's me looking all short and like, hey. But I had a look at the guest list, so I had a little research and everything. It was about his film and stuff, but yeah, he was really cool. I was kind of nervous because like you don't know how someone's going to react, and it's just this like crazy little blonde girl, like here she is. But yeah, no, he was really cool. And I don't get starstruck, so I'm very cool around people. I'm very like, hi, like a very sort of, I don't know why, I've never really been a starstrucky person. You could be James Bond soon though. You could say that you've interviewed James Bond if that would be so sick. I know. So sick. I know. Yeah. But that is A-list, isn't it? So I think you've got it there. What's your favourite ever interview?
Ooh, that's a good one. Oh gosh, there's so many. I think. Do you know what? I really enjoyed interviewing Friendly Fires, right? And I think purely because when I was 16, I went to Reading and Leeds for the first time, and with all my mates, and it was like, hey, after GCSEs, man, and we just went wild on Strongbow. And I remember like standing in the crowds, and Friendly Fires were on the main stage at that time, and I remember just like watching them as a kid, because I used to I still love Friendly Fires, but like they were like one of my favorite bands. And I think like when I interviewed them, I just like took myself back to that time when I was like 16, and I was watching a band on the main stage, and like if someone had told me in 10 years time you'll be interviewing them, I would have been like, what the hell? So I think I really enjoyed that, and they were really nice, and I think it was just like a really cool chat. I really enjoyed that.
So it's sort of there's something that we've got in the calendar that I don't want to curse by saying who it is, but it's a similar vibe where it was like one of the first bands sort of I really loved, and then it was probably the first band I saw continuously, so I can sort of feel that excitement that you're talking about. But
it's special. It's really special.
Do I know about this, Sean?
It's from on 31st of March, James.
Okay, yeah. But tell us, Louise, tell us about an interview that's not gone well.
No. So I remember I was doing a music festival for a broadcaster, and I sorted out all these interviews, and I got kind of told who to interview, and I had to like sort them out and stuff, and I sorted them out. But I got like taken to the wrong place where I was meant to go to the band, because they had to take me there backstage, because it was like they had to escort me there because it was like backstage at the main stage, and this person like took me to the wrong place. So I was literally like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 minutes late, like, but I couldn't tell the tour manager because no signal, and it was so annoying. So I just got there, and then the tour manager like tapped his watch at me, and I was like, that's not a good start, and I just felt awful. And then and I was really that didn't go well. I said, I'm really sorry, I got taken to the wrong place, and the girl was there. He was like, where's the girl that made you late, and stuff like that. And I was like, oh my neck. And then I was like, oh gosh. Yeah, and then this guy, and it made it worse. This is just like this is doomsday. This goes downhill from here. But he just made like a really horrible comment as well, and he was like, I can't believe this broadcaster has downgraded this much, that there's one blonde girl setting up camera and microphones and doing the interview. And I was just there like, this is horrible. This is just horrible, because I just felt so like scared and just like, oh my gosh, I'm just on my own. But then I did the interview, and the band really enjoyed it because I'd done all my research, and I knew I'd gone in prepared, and I knew I could do it because I'd done it. You know what I mean? And I think it was just horrible because I had to like fight back like this man, like just being horrible. He just like stormed out on the sofa as well while I was doing the interview, and it just was just awful. And I was just like, what is going on? And then I just remember like leaving that interview, and then I just kind of like I tucked it away somewhere like during the interview, no one would have known. But then I bumped into like a few people that were working on other projects that I knew. And when someone just asks you, are you all right? And then you just like let go, and you're like, no. And I was just like, oh God, it was just such a horrible situation. And I just felt so like sad, because I just like, it was just horrible. Like it just was just like an intense situation. And I was like, what? I just don't understand.
I don't know how it could make someone feel so uncomfortable, like when they're just trying to do a job.
I know it was like the early stages. I was only like 21 as well, so it was like the early times of my career, and it was just, it's horrible.
Doesn't sound right.
No.
Here's a comment for you specifically for long-time listener of the pod, Tom.
Yeah.
Men are scum. That's his favourite phrase of all time.
Well, it could be quite well in this situation.
That works.
But your final quick fire interview question while we're on the topic before we go, which could link in well to the next question and could actually be the same person. What's your dream interview that you've not done?
That's a good one. I think, do you know what? I'd really like to sit down with Julian Casablancas. I love the Strokes so much, and He's a bit weird. He's a bit crazy in interviews, though.
Mysterious, isn't he?
Yeah, he's very like reserved, but I just want to pick his brain. I just love the Strokes, and I just think he's just an interesting human. I like people that are a bit like, a bit obscure and a little bit like introverted and stuff like that. I find it really interesting. So I think Julian Casablancas would definitely be a tick off for me. Definitely.
That would be a good one. I'm hoping that we won't cross over them with the next question, because we ask all of our guests for 3 musicians, past or present, who they can go out for a drink with, sit around for an evening and ask them anything, pick their brains. So who is your first choice and why?
So I think my first one, I'd have to go with Debbie Harry, just purely because she was like a fashion icon of mine growing up, and I remember picking up Blondie for the first time, like Parallel Lines, and it just blew me away. And I was going through my parents' vinyls when I was younger, and they introduced me to Blondie, and I was like, yes, this is so good. And it was like a blonde woman rocking out, and I was like, yes, love this, this is a bit of me. And yeah, I'd loved her fashion, and I think like sitting down with her over a pint, we could just talk about all the fashion of like going through it, and how she kind of styled herself and who styled her and stuff like that, like, and how she made Double Denim look so sick. She made Double Denim look so good. Definitely Debbie Harry.
I was in Corbieres in Manchester. It's like this little wine cellar bar thing, and Sunday Girl came on. And it was like, and everyone started singing it, and I think I've listened to it every day since that. So it's an odd coincidence, but yeah.
They've got some catchy tunes, haven't they? They've got some catchy tunes.
Yeah, and I saw a video of her doing it, and she just looked so cool, like just at the front, like in the early days.
Yeah.
So yeah, and a unique choice as well, not been picked before.
Yeah, that's a fantasy point. Wow,
fantasy point.
It's a fantasy.
That's a point of fantasy.
That's a fantasy pint first.
Hey.
You know what though, Sean? The difference is I'm going to leave that in when I edit this, whereas whenever you stutter, it gets cut.
It's your choice. You're the editor. So who's joining Debbie Harry?
So this is like a random one, right? But I love Lizzo, right? I just think Lizzo is so sick, right? I want to break up with someone just so I can listen to her music and just be like, hey, because she's like, gives that vibe. Because I'm not a big pop fan, but like I just love what Lizzo does. And there's that video of her, I think she's with Harry Styles, and she like necks that tequila, I think at the Brits or something. She like downs like this whole like glass of tequila. And she's just like badass. And I just feel like going out with her, she'd just be an absolute hoot. Like you'd end up probably like in someone's garden, like, I don't know, face down, but it'd be fantastic. It'd be so good. And she's a hype gal, she'd hype you up. She'd go for it. I think she'd be sick.
Would be good as hell.
Look at it. So fun.
Oh dear. Would you be able to neck the tequila though? That's the question.
Do you know what? No, because I feel like she's not a pint girl. She's like definitely a spirits gal. Do you know what I mean? No, tequila. I've had bad experience on tequila, so I can't.
They say you're either tequila or sambuca, don't they? I'm definitely sambuca.
I'm a sambuca guy, 100%. 100%.
What are you, James?
Definitely sambuca. Definitely sambuca. Although the baked bean tequila shot in Sava in Liverpool city centre hits different.
Baked bean. We just both said that.
Okay, let's move on to this for a minute. So there is no brand deals, but we will talk this. There is.
I think it's actually shut down.
No, Sava is definitely still open. Yeah.
The big beans shut it down.
Yeah. Basically, Louise, have you ever been out in Liverpool?
I have, yeah.
Okay, so when?
It was whenever Sound City was last year. September.
Oh, okay, yeah. So you wouldn't know Crazy House, would you? Because I think that's been closed a long time. So,
no.
Did you go anywhere near Concert Square?
I went to Jimmy's.
Hot World.
Wherever Jimmy's is, that's where I was.
Jimmy's. Okay, so Jimmy's is like top of Bold Street. So this is 5-minute walk down Bold Street and left. There's a little Sava.
Probably has no idea what these streets that you're talking about.
No,
I don't, and I've been quite a few times.
5-minute walk from Jimmy's is a lovely little tequila bar called Sava, and in Sava you can. Have you never been to Sava, Sean?
I have, but I don't drink tequila, do I? So, and
okay,
I eat baked beans, but I don't drink.
Okay, so it is just a tequila bar, but there's hundreds of different flavors of tequila that you can get. Some are nice, and some are baked bean.
Does it actually taste like a full-on baked bean?
Yes.
Is that good though?
No.
It doesn't sound very good.
It doesn't. I can't think of anything worse.
It is horrendous. Yeah.
So what would be your tipple of choice next to Lizzo and Blondie then? Not Blondie, Debbie Harry.
Do you know
Bring the full band.
Bring them all. Do you know what? I think it'd have to be a short, probably. Or I might have to go simple and just go gin and tonic, but like double, maybe triple, just to catch
gin
up.
And tonic's
blow me head off, like.
Good choice.
Solid shout.
Solid shout. Yeah, got to do it.
Is that your go-to spirit?
It is at the moment, yeah. I think I am. But do you know what? I'm just one of them. I just like all the flavored gins. There's so many gins now. It's like a jamboree of gins.
Gin is my spirit of choice, and Sean has allegedly bought me an interesting gin, in his own words, for my birthday, although it's been 20 days since my birthday. Yet to receive it.
Baked bean gin.
It's going to be baked bean gin, isn't it?
It's been 20 days and we have met up in person multiple times in those 20 days, and I'm yet to receive it. So I'm starting to think it doesn't exist. Yeah.
Who knows? So who's your third and final fantasy pint?
So my third and final one, I think, so I'm going to go with Robert Smith, right, from The Cure, purely because, at the end of the night when you get to that point and you drank a lot and then you just stop having random conversations with people, but the mood's very somber and you need someone to start telling you some home truths. I feel like Robert Smith is that man because every time I've watched him do an interview, he's just so dry and it's fantastic. I just think he's wicked. Have you seen that one with the girl? And she goes like, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, guys, how do you feel? I mean, you're excited as I am. And she's like, I don't think so.
yeah. I was going to mention it because honestly, I was howling at that. I think I rewatched it so many times.
I have. It's my favourite thing on the internet. I just love it. It's just perfect. It's British humour at its finest. I just love it.
He just did a song with Churches, didn't he? That was like the song of the year.
He's class. I've seen The Cure live and that was a big old tick for me. I was like, I just love it.
No, 3 good choices, and also 3 points, 3-0, because they're all unique choices.
Oh, there you go.
In a league of your own.
I know.
We don't have a leaderboard, but if we did, you'd be at the top.
I'd be at the top with the baked bean tequila.
Yeah, maybe we should start a leaderboard of unique picks.
I did consider making a playlist at one point, but then I didn't bother. But leaderboard works.
That's commitment for you right there, isn't it?
I love it.
I spend hours editing these podcasts. You won't even make a playlist.
Oh, one thing.
Not enough time in the day. Anyway, so on a final note, what is planned for you in 2022? I'm assuming festival season is going to be big for you.
Yeah, so festival season is something where you start to get busy. Hopefully doing some more DJing, and interviews as well. I've just started to get some festivals getting in contact about possibly going down to do some interviews for them, which is good. We're also gonna carry on with Spill the Sound. We've got some really exciting plans for that, so hopefully we can get that to take off a little bit. We're going to be filming season 2 as well, so we're on the hunt for some new bands. I pick all the bands as well, which is nice, so it's quite an organic thing, so I can kind of say which bands I want to get on the show and stuff. So mainly that really, and carrying on. I'm still writing the comedy and stuff and just sitting on that at the moment, but is that not
going to be this year then, the comedy? Is that later?
I think it is, unless somebody is like, yes, will we like that? I think it's thinking of like the tactic of like going about it really. So but I'm always writing. I love writing, so I'm always writing some stuff.
Yeah, so exciting things in the pipeline then, hopefully.
I hope, sure,
yeah. But thanks so much for coming on. Been a great guest, and as we said, 3 great picks, 3 great unique picks from the music media person. So.
That's me. Oh, thank you so much for having me, guys. It's been loads of fun. Thank you.
I've just realised I didn't get in my little catchphrase when you first joined, so thank you for your valuable time. We do appreciate it.
For some reason, James tells everyone they have valuable time. And then they usually say we've not been doing much at all.
Time,
but you actually have. You actually have, haven't you?
But,
time is valuable.
Time is valuable. I mean, I got on the tube very quick. I got here in time. That's the
thing. Yes, you did.
Louise,
very punctual.
This is completely off topic now, but this is a conversation I was having with a friend last night.
I don't know where this is going.
If you can get involved in the conversation too, Sean, you were present whilst I was having this conversation with Tom, but you were not listening. If you could take a pill, which meant that you did not need to sleep ever again. So the benefit. This is just on my mind because I think it's a great question. The benefit of sleep is that you feel refreshed, isn't it? You're no longer fatigued. If you could take a pill that meant you no longer had to sleep to feel refreshed, it was not possible for you to sleep. You had all this extra time in the day. Would you take that pill? It's not a one per night. It is you take one pill and you never sleep again.
No, I think I would, because I at night, right, when I'm sleeping, I get ideas and I have to go and write them down. And I feel like it rocks up anyway. So I may as well just stay awake the whole time. Yeah. You got one? How much is it? Could I buy it?
You can't beat a good nap.
It's in development. Yeah, I think the only downside to it is you'd probably be a bit bored every now and again, but the amount you could get done in that extra time, I think it makes it a no-brainer.
Look, we all have the same 24 hours in a day as Molly May says.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. So that was off-piste, but as I was saying, thank you very much for coming on. It's been a pleasure having you on, and you're a great guest. So best of luck with everything in the future.
Thank you. It's been loads of fun.
Where can people find you on social media?
So I am at Louise Schofield TV. I don't know why the TV's at the end, but that's the way it is. On everything, on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, if people still use Facebook, TikTok as well. I do some TikToks, but not very often. But yeah, Louise Schofield TV, that's me. And at Spill the Sound for all the Spill the Sound stuff.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time, Louise.
No problem. Thank you.
Yes, that was Louise Schofield, as I said. Great guest, I thought. You were great.
Yeah, that was great. It was a really good chat. Thoroughly enjoyed that.
Always good when you get someone who's like a presenter or something, because they're just, they're going to be a good talker and stuff.
Yeah.
It's pretty
Gift
nice.
of the gab.
Indeed. You're off to New York soon, aren't you, James? So there might be, although we do under promise, over deliver. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
There may be a little fumble in the schedule at some point, but we'll do our best.
Yeah, we'll hopefully get a couple of podcasts pre-recorded so that the upload schedule is not affected. But
by New York.
May not be possible. I'm away from the 3rd till the 11th of April.
And I can't possibly be in charge of editing a podcast, so
I would not wish that upon any of our listeners.
So what date are we on? We're on the 22nd, so there's still 9 days to enter the headphones competition on northernchorus.co.uk. Click win, I think, on the side tab. Can enter that until the 31st. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm waiting for you, James.
Chorus _
Correct. Instagram at Northern Chorus and Facebook.
Northern Chorus Book.
Correct.
That
Spelled
is
UK.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And we'll see you next time.
We will. Let me tell you about my tooth before we go. There's another thing I want to mention as well. I wanted to say this when we were talking to Louise, but I've wanted it to say it when
but you were distracted by the chat about a pill that would send you to sleep, or doesn't send you to sleep.
A pill that stops you from ever requiring sleep. Yeah, I think that's a great discussion. No, when you do this every week, and I love it, and I always want to bring it up with the guests, but obviously they go straight into answering the questions, so it'd be rude for me to interrupt.
Mm-hmm.
I always want to follow your phrasing of the Fantasy Pints question with the words "our survey says," because we ask all of our guests if they could pick 3 people, past or present, to have a pint with. Who would they pick and why? Our survey says.
Yeah, well, please never do that, because you'll already know that I'll request to cut it.
Yeah, that was the one thing. And the other thing is, I'm having a terrible time with my tooth.
Are you hoping that someone's going to listen to it that's a dentist?
Yeah, well, my dentist is fixing it. I snapped my tooth when I was 14. I think we've mentioned this briefly. on an intro already.
Hashtag tooth update.
Yeah, so snapped it when I was 14, had a veneer on it. Veneer came off during a gig of mine a couple of weeks ago. Had it temporarily stuck back on. It fell off when a bit of cream egg. Had it temporarily stuck back on again, and it just fell off by itself after Sam Fender. And I have now had it temporarily stuck on for a third time. There it is. Great.
You didn't let it get you down, did you?
Listeners. Good one.
Thank you.
Nice, Sean. Actually, I need you to explain that one.
It's a Sam Fender song. You said you two fell out after Sam Fender. Sam Fender sings "Get You Down." I said, "Did it get you down?"
Yeah. Thanks.
I should be writing those comedy sketches like Louise.
You should. You probably would not have as much success.
Well, I'm going to get started on it next week.
Please don't. Thanks so much for listening.
No, that's cartoonist. See, I've got it.
See you next week.
Goodbye.